Hello. I'm shaking your hand, meeting you at my door like I would in my classroom. I hope you're doing well. I really miss you guys. Okay, today we're going to be looking at drama vocabulary review. These are all words that we had looked at right before spring break when we first started studying Othello. First thing I want you to know, at the end of every slide, I want you to pause the video to write down each drama vocabulary word, the definition, and example on the paper. By the end of the slides, I want you to take a picture of all your notes and then upload it and send it to me in Teams. First vocabulary word is classical play. That's a play that is widely acknowledged for its outstanding and enduring qualities. Examples: Othello, the play we're reading in class; Hamlet, to be or not to be, that is the question; and of course, from your freshman year, Romeo and Juliet. An allusion is a reference within a literary work to another work of literature, art, or real event. The reference is often brief and implied. An example, in Act 4, Scene 2 of Othello: "You, mistress, that have the office opposite to St. Peter, and keep the gate of hell." This is an allusion to St. Peter, one of Jesus' 12 apostles in the Bible, who is traditionally portrayed as the gatekeeper of heaven. This is known as a biblical allusion or a religious allusion. Other examples are on the right side of the screen. The first two are classical literature allusions. When she lost her job, she acted like a Scrooge and didn't want to spend any money. That comes from the Christmas Carol. "He's such a Romeo, always around the girls." Of course, that's referring to Romeo and Juliet. And then finally, the last one is a mythological allusion. "Chocolate is my Achilles' heel." The third vocabulary word is conceit. It's an extended metaphor in poetry or literature which is often fanciful or elaborate. Example, in Othello, Iago uses the conceit throughout the entire play that he is poisoning Othello with evil thoughts of jealousy and envy. An extended metaphor is number 4. A metaphor in which the comparison is carried throughout several lines or even the entire literary work. Example, in Othello, Desdemona is always characterized as fair, meaning light skin. The light skin of Desdemona represents a pure body, mind, and soul, as well as great beauty. Another example of an extended metaphor is on the right side of the screen, the poem "Two Roads Diverged in a Yellow Woods," where the two roads diverge is the comparison for the entire poem of choices that we make in life. Number 5 is tone, which means the author's particular attitude, either stated or implied in the writing. Example: serious, humorous, logical, or emotional. Example from Othello is: "The tone is largely reflected through Iago's worldview, which is characterized by cynicism and suspicion." Iago expresses his cynicism frequently, and particularly in the play's opening acts. Number 6 is script. It's a written version of the speech and actions of performers, as in a play or film. If you look on the left side of the screen, you'll see an example of the script that we've been reading in class of Othello. Number 7 is explicit theme. This is where the author overtly states the theme somewhere within the work. This is rare. You usually see it in textbooks. However, in Othello, Iago states many times how much he hates Othello, and he even helps to transform Othello's love into hate. The theme of hate versus love is pretty explicit in Othello. Number 8 is implicit theme. It refers to the author's ability to construct a piece in such a way that through inference, a guess, the reader understands the theme. Example: Othello focuses on the dangers of jealousy. The play is a study of how jealousy can be fueled by mere circumstantial evidence and can destroy lives. In Othello, the hero succumbs to his jealousy when Iago convinces him that Desdemona has been an unfaithful wife. It is interesting that Iago uses jealousy against Othello, yet jealousy is likely the source of Iago's hatred in the first place. In Othello, jealousy takes many forms, from cheating, suspicion, to professional competition. But it is, in all cases, destructive. A monologue is a dramatic convention in which a speech is given by a single character to other characters. The example in Othello is when Iago gives a long speech to Roderigo about how much he hates Othello. Iago says, "I do hate him, I swear. 3 of Venice's most important noblemen took their hats off to him and asked him humbly to make me his lieutenant, the second in command. And I know my own worth well enough to know I deserve that position. But he wants to have things his own way. So he sidesteps the issue with a lot of military talk and refuses their requests. I've already chosen my lieutenant," he says. And who does he choose? A guy who knows more about numbers than fighting. This guy from Florence named Michael Cassio. He has a pretty wife, but he can't even control her. And he's definitely never commanded men in battle. He's got no more hands-on knowledge of warfare than old women, unless you count that he's read in books, which any peace lover can do. His military understanding is all theory, no practice. But Cassio has been chosen over me. My career is cut short by some bookkeeper, even though the general saw my fighting skills firsthand in Rhodes and Cyprus. This accountant is now lieutenant, while I end up as the Moor's flag bearer. Number 10 is soliloquy. This is a dramatic convention in which a speech is given by a character while or as if literally talking to oneself. They are telling us their thoughts and feelings. Example, in Othello, when Iago gives a long speech to express his thoughts out loud for the audience to hear while he's thinking about Roderigo and Othello. That's how I always do it, getting money from fools. I'd be wasting my skills dealing with an idiot like that if I couldn't get something useful out of him. I hate the Moor, and there's a widespread rumor that he slept with my wife. I'm not sure if it's true, but just the suspicion is enough for me. He thinks highly of him. That'll help. Cassio's a handsome man. Let's see. How can I get his position and use him to hurt Othello at the same time? How? Let's see. After a while, I'll start telling Othello that Cassio is too intimate with Desdemona. Cassio is a smooth talker and a good-looking guy, the sort of man that people would expect to be a seducer. The Moor is open and straightforward. He thinks any man who seems honest is honest. People like that are easy to manipulate. So it's all decided. I've worked it out. With a little help from the devil, I'll bring this monstrous plan to success. And finally, our last vocabulary word is dramatic irony. A dramatic device in which a character says or does something that he or she does not fully grasp, but is understood by the audience. A main example of dramatic irony from Othello is the plot to destroy Othello's life. The only character who knows about this is Iago. The audience knows because Iago delivers the soliloquy I just read to you on the last slide. This is when the character speaks to themselves so that the audience can hear their thoughts. At the beginning of the play, that describes his devious plan. Iago lets the audience in on a little secret about his plans. We then become co-conspirators with him, even though we don't want to be. On the right side of the screen, it shows you two audience members watching a show. and they know what's happening, but the characters do not. The blonde female says, oh, she doesn't know that he's about to walk into her sister's trap. And the male says, OMG, this is going to explode in their faces. Now, I need you to take a picture of your notes and upload them in the assignment area of Microsoft Teams where it says My Work. You'd hit the Add Work and upload it there. Thank you. Have a great day.